The following program is furnished by K1 International, LLC, and is responsible for its content. Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Texas. How we doing out there? Welcome to your Sunday morning. Happy Mother's Day out there. Welcome to the Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Well, not everybody, just the mothers.
Just the mothers.
All you fathers, you're going to have your day coming up, but this is for the mothers.
That's right. You're going to have your day coming up, and you'll get nothing for it, and
Well, you get a tie and your coffee
some socks, yeah. And then they ask you for some money. Can I have some money to get you a Father's Day gift? How we doing out there, folks? Hey, if you forgot about it, we're here every Sunday live, 8 to 9 a.m. And as you know, if you're a listener of ours, you know that we do a lot of other things on the show. We don't just talk about real estate, because if we did, nobody would listen. I mean, look, we love real estate, we love business, we love our experts in business. We bring you a lot of great information, but we bring it to you in bits and spurts, and we give you that great information, but we mix it in with some sports, politics, entertainment, and the reason why we do that is because that way it's fresh every week, and people tune in, and when they do tune in, the transient listener that swings by, how we listen to radio, we move around, hit the buttons, hit the dials, and they stay tuned in, and so that's why we do that, and because and it's a great thing, because a lot of times on these types of shows, investment talk or business talk, people don't tune in, and if they do, or the transient listener swings by, they're like, oh man, that's boring, and they keep switching. Oh,
absolutely, and I don't blame them, because I do the exact same thing.
Yeah, we do.
You can only put me to sleep for so long before I'm going to turn the station.
That's right. But with us, we're doing great ratings, and so we're doing some good things. We appreciate your feedback out there. By the way, the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Follow us on Pinterest and all that kinds of good stuff as well. Got a lot of great stories on the website. A little bit on real estate. Obviously, we're in property tax protest time, coming up deadline into the month. I had a really crazy call this week. It came in through the office, and I kind of figured it out by the time it got bounced over to me. The guy was just in such a frantic mood, and he basically just wanted like an immediate, CMA, and which was basically what the deal was. But he was so frantic, I could tell. I was like, you know what? That had to be about, the property taxes. His property taxes went up so much, and he's bummed out about it. But when someone calls, we ask them some questions. We got to, first of all, we have to ensure you're the owner of the house.
Yeah, that helps,
because you'd be surprised. We're targeted for scams all the time in real estate, and then also just nosy neighbors. They want to see what the neighbor's house is worth, so they're like, eventually, if you ask enough questions, you're like, well, really, it's actually, my neighbor's house. Like, really, what? Why do you want the value of your neighbor's house? I'll give you the value of your house. I'm just curious about the neighbor. Like, really? So the guy wouldn't answer some basic questions. So it's kind of one of those things. Either it's a scam, or, I kind of figured, he was just so frantic on the phone. Maybe it was because he wanted property tax information to, but you need to go. There's groups out there, by the way. And if you want to come, contact me offline, I'll give you some great contacts for, protesting your taxes. There's a whole process to it, and maybe you can get a reduction, because we've all been hit with that.
Oh, absolutely, especially with all the investors and the prices going up. One of the side effects of the prices going up is your tax rate goes up.
Yeah, it is what it is. But if you haven't had a lot of sales in your neighborhood, then you've got some great ammo. If you're in a very established neighborhood and there haven't been a lot of sales, definitely, get with me offline. We'll hook you up with some people that do a good job of protesting. But, your best shot is, hopefully, if you're in a neighborhood that's just well established, hasn't had a lot of sales, then, there's a good chance, for you to be getting a little reduction on that. Don't forget all your exemptions,
Absolutely. I was surprised. I've got a few customers, and we were going through this, and you know how sometimes when you purchase a new house, all you pay taxes on is the property. You're not paying taxes on the actual home or the improvements.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the first year. So when you get your first real tax and from the county, and your rate goes from $400-$500 up to $8,000 because you're paying 2 years of taxes for the improvements and the property. That's what I kind of thought was happening with one customer, but I mean, it was just it's amazing out there that some people just don't understand how all this works.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so don't forget your homestead exemption. Don't forget, if once you hit the senior level, and then if you're a veteran and you have disability, there's veteran disability options there as well. Hey, just as a reminder, we're part of the largest real estate group internationally, part of Realogy, which is not only Better Homes and Gardens, but Century 21, Sotheby's, Remax, or not Remax, Era, and Barbara Corcoran's group, very large group. And so, if you know somebody that's buying or selling real estate, and it doesn't really matter where it is internationally, they could be moving from France to New York, they could be moving from Seattle to Belize, wherever it is, we've got offices and we've got relocation experts that can help those people. So it doesn't have to be somebody moving into and out of Dallas. It doesn't mean, obviously we can help them here in the DFW area, but if you know somebody just through business, and they need to sell a house in Seattle, in Hawaii, and they're moving wherever, it doesn't really matter where they're moving internationally. We've got offices, all over the place. Century 21 that is part of the Realogy group, very heavy international presence, so we can get you with a relocation expert in that location and get them taken care of. So feel free to give us a call on that, and we will absolutely take care of them. Let's get into some headlines here. There's a lot going on out there, even though it's kind of been a slower week. I mean, all we heard of, we kind of had to dig a little bit deep. There's a lot going on, but all we heard about all week was just Trump Comey, which I'm a little bit bored of. But so we're not going to get into that because it's just, oh my God, we've been hammered with that this whole past week. We've been hammered with it. Actually, I would say one of the most interesting things, did you see that 2020 deal the other day with John McAfee?
I know you're not looking at me because I've got little kids and I can't watch anything that I don't even watch the news because as soon as it comes up that someone got killed, I get all the questions and everything. And I'm just like, yeah, it's not. We'll stay with Sophia and all the little kid shows until they go to bed.
I got you. Well, this was interesting. So, I've always kind of followed John McAfee a little bit because he's just a wild and crazy character, right? And obviously, the guy that created, McAfee antivirus. Yeah. But he's kind of gone down some very unique paths in life, you might say. And so...
Well, he is definitely unique.
He is, absolutely. He's extremely smart, extremely intelligent, but a lot of his behavior, could be, considered destructive, certainly.
No.
So there was the whole special. It was really interesting. First of all, the guy that was interviewing him, the 2020 guy, oh, what a punk, what a pompous punk. I mean, it's just... he has that smirk on his face. You just want to slap off, right? And, he gets in real close to you when he's talking to you. He's like a close talker. I'd be like, man, get back. Don't get that close to me. You're invading my space. But anyway, so the interesting part was, I didn't know this, when John McAfee was living down in Belize, evidently he had like a whole bunch of dogs, right? He's living beachfront, and his neighbor... is tired of all these dogs yapping all the time. The neighbor poisons the dogs. All the dogs die. And so that next day, the neighbor, somebody breaks into his house and kills the neighbor. And so, of course, it's assumed that McAfee did it.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's got an alibi, but then the story is, okay, he paid somebody to, he hired a hitman to, whack the neighbor. And so there's this whole story about that. He kind of somewhat flees because of what had previously happened there in Belize with the authorities.
I was going to say, he's had more than one encounter with local law enforcement.
Yeah, well, one of the things he had been doing, one of his endeavors was working with a scientist to develop some natural remedies, through bringing these plants in from the jungle. There were some anonymous tips to the local authorities. They raided that, the compound and the lab because they thought that somebody said that they were doing meth, running meth, etc. They didn't find anything. All they did find was a bunch of plants and a bunch of natural type remedies, in a typical lab, but they never found anything illegal. So evidently, according to him, he felt like he was going to be targeted on this death, which obviously is very suspicious, right? There's definitely motive there for sure. So he kind of flees to Guatemala, and then they're going to bring him back to Belize, but he has a heart attack. Some say it was a faked heart attack. And so then he ends up bouncing back to the U.S. And so very interesting story with that. And then there's a Showtime special that's called The Gringo, and supposedly it was based on some things while he was down in Belize and Guatemala, and there's one of his ex-employees is on that Showtime special, saying he was paid $5,000 to arrange a hit on that neighbor. So that's the Showtime special.
Now, this is one of his actual ex-employees.
Yeah. So then, fast forward a little bit to the 2020 special. Then they go to interview this guy. And so then the guy totally recants on it. He says, actually, the Showtime special people paid me a lot of money to give them a story. They were interested in, my relationship with McAfee. And so I gave, he recanted the entire thing on camera and gave them, he said, I gave them what they wanted. I gave Showtime what they wanted. And so at this point, this thing's gotten so many layers and so many circles. It was unbelievable. But if you didn't see it, look it up, on YouTube or whatever. But it was a really interesting story. I mean, honestly, 2020 usually doesn't do a very good job of anything. But but there was actually a fair bit of information to it, And if you know anything about him, you know how wild and crazy this guy is, and he could be totally unhinged, But at the same time, he's extremely intelligent too. So, but sometimes those two things go together: extremely intelligent and unhinged. But pretty neat story.
Yes. In fact, I used to use McAfee until I found out more about him, and then I was just like, I will never use your products again. And I won't. It's just finding out what kind of person he is, or
right.
But that's my own personal thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's so much out there, on both sides of this for this guy, but it's just really interesting. So if you know anything about McAfee, or even if you don't, and that sort of piques your interest, that's really just the tip of the iceberg with some of the stories and some of the things going on with him. There's a whole side story with the scientist, and some allegations with her. So there's so much more to it. So, you might want to look that up.
Oh, back in 2013 when he was running his private blog, he was describing his exploits in Belize, where he had hired some ladies of the night to seduce the Belize government, and he was actually providing virus-riddled laptops to the Belize government to then log their keystrokes and then steal all their state secrets. Yep. It's a big part of what the whole conspiracy. Yeah. It's a great story.
It really is. And I don't think, honestly, I do think it's tip of the iceberg with what we really do know. Yeah. We don't know all the other things that are going on.
And this was stuff that he was saying on his own blog.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
pretty wild.
He's amazing.
Wild and crazy. Well, hey, folks, we're going to take a short break. Then we're going to come on back. See you in a few.
The Freedom Caucus in the Texas State House fights back. It's war not against the Democrats, but squishy moderate Republicans with a vendetta against conservatives. An insider speaks out Monday at 5:30 on the Stinchfield Report, 5 to 8 p.m., 570 KLIF.
The Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency Network. Richard can quote over 20 A-rated companies to find the best fit for you, the best policy at the best price. Call Richard today at 817-286-2002. It's the Richard Tonihka Goosehead Insurance Agency, 817-286-2002. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commission sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet Walk-in Tubs at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
Attention professional sales reps, what does your future look like right now? Let me tell you what it might look like selling for some of the most recognizable radio stations in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's exciting, it's meeting new people, it's prospecting, it's creating a market plan for a customer and making it work. It's potentially very lucrative. It's taking your future into your own hands. Interested? Send me your resume. Richard.Lane@Cumulus.com. That's Richard.Lane@Cumulus.com. Cumulus is a drug-free workplace and an equal opportunity employer.
Two great signals. One great way to keep up with what's happening in your world. KLIF News and Information, 570 AM and 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
How we doing, folks? We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. By the way, think about buying, selling real estate, investing in real estate, go to the website, hook up with me. By the way, we also have great partners in business. Whether you're looking at home improvement, maybe you need an attorney, insurance, any category you can really think of in business or in home improvement. We have got partners, for you that we would highly recommend, and can help you with what you need. So let's get into a little more of the headlines here. We've got some stuff I wanted to get to. Did you see the it's called all these computers were hacked, some 99 countries this past couple of days, over the weekend were hacked, and some malware, and they were asking for about $300 or 230 pounds in virtual Bitcoin currency. Mainly European countries, Russia and China were hacked as well. But Interior and Health Ministries, Russian Railway, their largest mobile phone network in Spain, number of the large firms, Telefonica, which is the telecom giant, their natural gas provider, France's Renault, Portugal's Telecom, even FedEx here in the U.S. was hit. Mm-hmm. And China, of course, was hit, but they don't officially comment on who was, because they don't want to say. But the program was called WannaCry, and it was making all the computer owners want to cry for sure. 75,000 cases, as of Friday that they had found that were hit, and it was funny because it's a bunch of NSA tools and programs that were stolen by a group of hackers known as the shadow brokers, and the shadow brokers made it freely available on the internet as of April, and it was a weakness that was called Eternal Blue by the NSA. So the NSA named it Eternal Blue. It's a weakness in Microsoft, and shadow brokers said, you know what, we're going to make this free to the public in April, and so that way other hackers could have it and hack people's computers. But
oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Way to go, them.
So thanks so much to the NSA for just leaving it readily available for other hackers, So much for our NSA hackers being the best hackers. But so many more companies use Windows XP still, and so a lot of this was some older version weaknesses. But the funny thing was, and I didn't really think about this, I know a lot of companies still used it, but kind of the reasoning behind it, so for example, if the company they build their own proprietary computer systems, but to kind of use regular computer applications, whether it be Excel or Word or whatnot, they just stay with XP, because otherwise they have to spend so many gazillions of dollars upgrading the proprietary systems that they already built.
Well, yeah, and maybe your company's like this, but we can't upgrade our system or update our system because we have to have it at a certain level, and we can't go any higher because of that software, and you run into all the compatibility issues.
Yeah,
and I don't want the newest thing because of all the glitches and everything that they're going to have to work through.
Yeah.
But I don't want the oldest system out there either that companies are saying, hey, you know what, we're not going to support this anymore because it's too old. But there are a lot of companies out there that still have that. Yeah,
there really are. And, there really needs to be kind of two systems because, we're talking about what we need to run basically the internet, and what we do search-wise on the internet and those types of programs. We need that speed there. But as far as running the old programs that we all, use on a regular basis, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you don't need these new systems really for that. All those updates don't really do anything to that. You still have,
I just
your have spell to learn check, and all that
I
stuff.
just have to learn where everything is all over again, and it drives me crazy every time they come out with a new version of it.
Exactly. Hey, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker said he's going to run for a third term. He's done pretty well up there. Unemployment's gone from 8% to 4%. So he just made that announcement. That's going on here locally. We've talked about Mayor of Irving, Beth Van Dyne. She's now a regional HUD administrator, working under Secretary Ben Carson. But it looks like there may be a $6 billion cut in her new potential budget. So she's starting a new position, regional position with HUD. It seemed like sort of an odd maybe move for her going from mayor of Irving to that. But, she says there's a lot that is very similar in what HUD does and what mayors do. So that was kind of interesting. I thought maybe there was going to be a higher position available for her in the administration. She had the somewhat controversial stance, but regarding the Muslim tribunals, which were, trying to handle things outside of our traditional courts. So that was interesting. We're not going to get into that. There's too much to get into that. Did you know this cop down in Austin, tried to fake his death? Didn't do a very good job.
I was going to say, if it's made the news, he didn't do it well.
Yeah, his wife reported him missing. He sent her a text of a photo and a suicide note where he was intending to drown himself in a lake near the border of Mexico. His pickup was found near Lake Amistad, and along with a raft with his name, date of birth, and supposedly a date of death on it. He, for some reason, he went down to Colombia, and then he flew back to the States. And then also they found out from another woman reporting an email from him about staging his death. So, and he was a police officer, so he didn't do a very good job. Hey, Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, he talked with Glenn Beck, and this was his first interview since he was let go by Fox. And it was interesting. Glenn Beck says, so what the heck happened? Of course, Riley was on vacation when all this happened. And wouldn't you love that, to be terminated while you're on vacation? Yeah, by the way, you don't have a job when you come back.
Don't worry about coming in. We've already got the boxes.
Yeah, we got this all situated. Yeah, don't come back. He said, you know what? He said there's going to be an expose on this coming up soon. He's like, I'm going to I can't get into the details yet, but he said, look, he's like, there was a group that basically targeted me. I was, it was a hit job. He said it's a group that terrorizes sponsors and behind the scenes manipulates and things to their end. He said I was, ultimately target. That they finally wanted to get rid of, and basically they hammered away at the sponsors behind the scenes. You get the sponsors to pull out, and then hit the people behind the scenes and management, et cetera, et cetera. And he said it was a total hit job, but he's going to expose all of that. He said he's going to name names and discuss all these groups that were part of this, and so that's forthcoming. So that was interesting in that story with Glenn Beck. We talked to Mark Meckler here on the show about a month ago, and he was on the Blaze recently, and so we're not going to get too much into detail with that because we talked a lot with Mark Meckler about the Convention of States, et cetera, but there was some more news that he kind of let loose on the Blaze, so we'll have that story and that audio up on the website as well. Hungary has been one of the countries in the EU that EU has demanded all the countries take a certain amount of Muslim refugees, and back in 2015 they said no, along with a few other countries, and so what they've done to further stop the Muslim refugees is electrify their border fence. So they had put up a nice border fence with razor wire, et cetera, and so they decided to take another step and electrify it. So taking it very seriously that they don't want the same issues that a lot of the other European nations have had with the influx of radical Muslims and the types of issues that they're creating these no-go areas, as we've discussed before, particularly in Sweden and France. And so Hungary's saying we just don't want to deal with that, which is certainly understandable. So they've electrified their fence. That's what they've decided to do.
How would you like to be the person that has that account? Oh yes, I got the electricity for the city or for the country of Hungary. I get their electric razor wire.
Yeah, exactly. What a deal. Hey, if you're a big fan of Last Man Standing, good old Tim,
I couldn't believe this one.
Good old Tim the Toolman Taylor, Tim Allen, they decided to pull it after 6 seasons, although it's led in ratings on every night that they've had it on. It's been it's been their anchor on Friday night for quite a while now, and it's led in ratings, doing great ratings. But here's the deal. Behind the scenes, the contract was ABC is contractually required to take over the cost of producing the show, being licensed to ABC. Originally, it was funded by 20th Century Fox TV, and so as part of the deal, after 6 seasons, they were going to have to take over the cost of producing the show, including paying, Tim's fee, which actually I think is less than what he was making back in the 90s on Home Improvement. So not that big of a deal. So they've let it go. It also leads in, some of the earlier seasons are already in syndication on Netflix and a couple other channels, CMT as well. And so my guess is it will probably get picked up quite honestly by probably Netflix. Netflix has done a lot in trying to pick up original content. Considering the extreme ratings this gets, my guess is this will probably just get picked up and continued on Netflix.
And I wonder why more shows like that don't get picked up. I mean, not necessarily this particular show, but shows in general that have a huge following, and it seems like the actors get along, and you don't hear any of the fighting or any of that from the crew, and so when they just get canceled, I wonder why more stations don't kind of take over those shows and keep producing them.
Yeah,
because the audience will follow.
Yeah, absolutely. In this day and age, we don't really care what station it is on. And most of the time we're not watching it live anyway. We're watching it recorded on DVR or watching it delayed on another program, whether it be Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or whatever the case may be.
Because I didn't even pick it up until it got on Netflix, and then I found out how funny it was and started watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I started watching it right away when it came out, but then you kind of forget, and you don't really just don't watch live anymore. I mean,
No.
Do you watch anything live?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, unless it's sports, that's really the only live thing you watch, and even then, that's changed so much. We tend to just watch tidbits of it, afterwards now. I mean, when's the last time you actually watched an NBA game? I mean, I haven't watched an NBA game in years.
Oh, me either.
Yeah,
I used to live for that in the Final Four of college basketball and all that.
If I'm watching one now, I'm recording up until halftime, and then I'm fast forwarding to catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not watching anything live.
Me neither. I mean, we watch NFL. I mean, the only actual games you're watching, really, I think probably for most people, it's NFL. And even then, we're fast forwarding through that, or
recording until halftime and catching up at the end.
That's exactly what we do.
We just catch up on highlights,
Because I don't want to sit there and my ADD starts kicking in, and the 30 seconds in between every play, we just, like you said, I mean, we record it till halftime and then just start flipping through.
Yeah. I mean, so much you can't give up 3 hours of your time anymore. It's just, yeah. Well, and plus the cachet is gone. I mean, once you've watched enough, let's just talk about the NBA. I mean, I love the NBA, loved basketball, officiated basketball for 9 years, but you get so much of it. There's nothing new on the NBA court, bottom line. There's not. I mean, the best that you've seen is already been done. There's nothing new on an NBA court that's going to be done, And in all honesty, probably nothing new in the NHL or MLB. NFL continues, I think, to surprise you as far as all the sports do. But at the same time, it's a lot of the same
speaking of,
as well.
They're bringing back celebrations, aren't they? I heard something about the NFL bringing back team celebrations. I could be mistaken.
I want more jumping in the kettle.
Oh, yeah.
I want 12 kettles, 11 kettles in the end zone. I want every player to jump in one.
No, you don't.
You
want more of T.O. signing the ball and Joe Horn answering the cell phone.
I want more Randy Moss mooning the Packers fans.
Sure. That's
everything.
Right.
You want that when it's your team. You don't want it when it's the other team.
Right, exactly. Well, speaking of which, it's ESPN has had to lay off a lot of people nationally. Their ratings have just tanked. I mean, remember when we used to watch SportsCenter, like every version of it, because we couldn't get enough?
Yes.
It's when it was, entertaining, and it was, the broadcasters, behind the booth, they were quick-witted. They were funny. They were entertaining.
Yeah, they were still kind of winging it because it was brand new.
Yeah, but, I mean, honestly, they were quick-witted. And, you'll tune in for that type of stuff. But then, I mean, at this point, it's just all blah.
Well, ESPN doesn't want the people that are running those shows or hosting the shows to be household names like they used to be. They don't want that the host to be as big as the network or where they're synonymous with one another. And so I don't think you're going to get that talent because as soon as someone gets to that level,
they got to pay them.
Yes.
Yeah. So kind of catch-22. You want those ratings, then you're going to have to pay the talent. And and then they get so political, and it's like, oh, blah. So I think it's going to continue to downslide, and we're going to continue to watch tidbits and so interesting. But yeah, Tim Toolman Taylor, he's probably, I liked Home Improvement probably better than the current show, but the current show is pretty darn funny. Although, I was talking to Lisa about this, and she said, you know what the difference is? She said with Home Improvement, he had all boys, and there was, Wilson, and then you had Al. There was just more guys to play off of, and it was more natural. He said, but he's got the daughters, and the wife is a heavier presence in the new show. And she said, it's not as funny with that scenario.
See, I think it's exactly the opposite. I like Last Man Standing much more than I like.
More than Home Improvement?
Yes.
Really?
Well, in ABC's defense, excuse me, I didn't know Tim Allen was back on TV again. So
probably because it was on ABC, right?
Yeah.
But we know ABC kind of, they have the type of shows that they like. Honestly, I'm surprised ABC put Tim on at all.
considering his history.
Yeah, it seems to me like that would have gone more to Fox, or just at cable. But interesting stuff. Hey, folks, we're going to take a short break. Then we're going to come on back. See you in a few.
The news never stops, and neither do we.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. You take a look at the FBI a year ago. It was in virtual turmoil less than a year ago. It hasn't recovered from that.
Non-stop coverage here. News and information, 570 AM, KLIF.
Far from the shores of home, 2 African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black war correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the black soldier. The novel A Private War weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news. Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate, and if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor.
If you have a timeshare, this time of year you're probably thinking about those maintenance fees coming due. Hi, I'm Karen Holloway, owner of Lone Star Transfer, located right here in the DFW area. Before you pay your maintenance fees, call us for a free consultation, 972-722-3166. We'll get you out of your timeshare and put a stop to those maintenance fees, guaranteed. 972-722-3166 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
Here is the inventor of Texas Superfood, Dennis Black.
Great health comes from nature, and that's what's in Texas Superfood. Nature's antioxidant-rich vitamins and minerals from 55 vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. So here's my health promise to you. Switch from your chemistry set vitamins to Texas Superfood for 90 days. Experience increased energy, more focus, and better sleep, or return it. No questions asked.
Now, when you order 2 bottles of Texas Superfood, get the 3rd bottle free. 877-55 Texas. You can also order online at TexasSuperfood.com.
KLIF News and Information, 570 AM, 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We're here for all of your real estate and business needs. Being a Sunday, of course, thought we'd mention this story. You remember Jim Caviezel, who portrayed Jesus Christ in the 2004 film Passion of the Christ. He came out with a really interesting interview recently, talking about. Also, you may know him from Person of Interest, the main character in Person of Interest on TV, which I think is on CBS. He came out and said, Hollywood treated him totally differently after he portrayed, Jesus Christ in that movie, because he is also a man of faith, and obviously being in Hollywood, a lot of people are not men and women of faith out there, and they kind of find faith to be something that they disagree with, because they're more hedonistic out there. But anyway, and he also talked about that he's looking forward to coming back in the sequel, and that there is a sequel planned, The Resurrection. Mel Gibson mentioned in November this past year that it was probably about 3 or so years out, and obviously, he's taken a hit and a fall since then.
No, not at all.
Hit or fall or two, been relegated to B movies, kind of in the world of Mario Van Peebles, but Mel Gibson's kind of gone through his period of time where he's taken his lashes, and so they're probably going to let that movie be released, and Jim Caviezel is interested in coming back in that. But interesting story that'll be on the website or the Pinterest one or both. And so interesting interview, for those of you who like Jim Caviezel or just that type of storyline, somebody, a man of faith who is in Hollywood, is something there for you. Let's get into some business talk. We've got as always, our good friend over at Goosehead Insurance. Richard Tonihka is here. His website, richardtagency.com, richardtagency.com. Don't forget, he can shop 20 to 25 companies behind the scenes for you to get the best policies, best rates for you, home, auto, toy, and otherwise. What's up?
Hey, how are you doing?
Excellent.
One of the questions that I get all the time is, I can't find these companies, and it's like, it's kind of what you say on the air. It's like you can't get to them.
Right.
They're all A-rated. Every one of them is going to be able to take care of you. They're not just local carriers, which the difference in that in a local carrier, a regional or a national carrier, is the fact that if something pops up or there is a huge, devastating, catastrophic event in this area, a local carrier may not be able to take care of all the claims and may just shut their doors.
Yeah, be wiped out.
Yeah, and so although you've been paying insurance to a local company for all these years or whatever, you're still not going to get anything taken care of just because the insurance company that you had no longer exists. And so it's something that you need to look at if you are dealing with a local company or that is strictly a local company. But what I wanted to talk about today is home liability coverage. I go through and with every one of my customers and just kind of go through and make sure that you understand what this covers, what the different coverages are, what they are designed for, and how they are designed to help you and make sure that you're taken care of should something pop up. And your liability coverage, nobody expects anything or someone to come on their property, have an accident or an injury, and then they'll have to use this. But this is what it's for. If someone was coming over to your house, let's say you have stairs that lead up to your house. Someone was coming over to your house and they slipped on one of your steps coming up, getting into your front door, and broke an arm or something. Well, the first thing that we're going to look at is, was it your negligence or some kind of maintenance issue, or was it simply that they just slipped and fell? Because there has to be some kind of negligence or something like that in order for it. Well, you can be sued for anything.
Right.
It doesn't. But in order for it to stick, there has to be some kind of negligence or something like that to where you should have taken care of something that you didn't take care of. So your home liability insurance covers a lot of things. The first thing is your medical bills. So that person let's say they came into your house, you had and we're going to say that you just had a loose step. They fell down, they broke their arm. You're going to have your liability, and then you're also going to have medical. One of the things that when you're looking at your medical, a lot of insurance agents are going to put that at $1,000. And I would tell you, if you've got an agent that's cutting corners on that, they're cutting corners other places as well, because $1,000 isn't going to pay for one emergency room visit. Unfortunately, we've had to take our son to the hospital, and not too very far in the past. But I will tell you that our out-of-pocket expenses is way over $1,000.
Right.
And so the maximum that you go is or you're allowed to go is $5,000. So take that from $1,000 to $5,000. Make sure that you're covered if something happens, because what you really don't want to do, there are a few kinds of coverages that you don't want to have hit on your insurance, because if it does, you're not going to move your insurance, and liability insurance is one of those. You can have a medical claim on your house. Fantastic. No problem. We can get through that, and you're still going to be an attractive option for other companies. But if you have a liability claim, you're not moving.
Right.
Most of the companies aren't going to want to take that risk, because there's still going to be a lot of out of pocket, because a liability claim means that there are lawyers involved. There's some kind of legal situation going on, and it can take up to years before this is resolved.
Right.
And that's also one of the reasons that you're looking at on your liability, is making sure that you have adequate amount of liability. I tell everyone, if you've got a $100,000 house, the next level up is $300,000. Your liability coverages 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, and then we start looking at umbrellas. But we'll get into all this in a little bit. But if your house is 100,000, I still go up to 500,000. If your house is at 250,000, the bare minimum that you should go is up to 300,000. Your liability should always be more than what your house is,
right?
What your dwelling value is on your house for your insurance, because it should be where it's more attractive for somebody to come after the insurance company than coming after you personally and trying to take your house.
Right.
And if you don't have the liability coverage set where you should, then it's going to be more attractive for them to come after you personally. And the whole thing about insurance is making sure that you are protecting your assets.
Yeah, and I mean, it's why these insurance segments that we have are so very important, because it really is looking after the people, and we do go into sort of some inside baseball with this, because, if you need to understand, folks out there, what insurance agents, your Allstate, your Farmers, your State Farm, USAA, etc. You need to know what the agents are doing, and they do cut corners. They know you're shopping by price. They want to give you the lowest price possible. So ask yourself, if you're getting the lowest possible price, the lowest possible premium, why is that? It's because you're getting the lowest possible coverage, which means more than likely cutting corners, and that they're not giving you the policy that you need. So when disaster strikes, you are not covered, bottom line.
Not always, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb, but not always. One of the things that we do is making sure that everyone is set up correctly. And Allstate, State Farm, and Farmers aren't going to be able to personalize their product the way that we do. We have all the different carriers that are able to personalize the product that fits your lifestyle and your needs and your budget. And just having all those different carriers, you're going to have that chance of getting a better policy at a better price. And it's not necessarily, but I will tell you that, and like I've said this many times, if you're with one of those companies, there's only two things that they can do to lower your rate. One is either cut coverage. The other is raise your deductible. Neither are attractive options for you.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, it's really very simple. Yeah, I mean, if they know you're shopping on price.
Yes.
And look, it's either low coverage, no coverage, minimal coverage, or your coverage increases, and your price increases with that. So they know that. They want to keep your business if you're shopping it, or if it's a brand new policy, they want to get your policy. It's just simple, business. It is what it is. They want to get you and capture you. So you have to be aware of that. And we're not saying, that these companies are bad, but we're just saying this is inside baseball. This is what happens. This is what it is. It is what it is. Accept it for what it is. Pay attention to that. And, if you want better options, we'd highly recommend giving Richard a call. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and finish this topic a little bit more on the other side of the break. Stay tuned, folks. See you in a few.
Hundreds of Toyota employees will be trying to find their way around the company's new Plano headquarters as they start moving in on Monday. And folks in Las Colinas getting ready for the AT&T Byron Nelson. All that and more Monday morning, 5 to 8 a.m. on 570 KLIF.
We sometimes live in a world of misinformation that's just not backed up by anything factual. For example, when the new media people like Pandora, Spotify, and SiriusXM tell your marketing people that they're growing and radio is way below them in reach. Factual? More like flat-out lie. Edison Research, the independent research company that does those exit polls for CNN, looked at people's consumption of audio in a single day. The truth? More than 93% of people listen to radio in a week, and more than half of all audio consumed in a day is radio. Want more facts? Only 6% listen to satellite in a day, 6% to Pandora, just 3% to Spotify. Radio is still the dominant adult mass marketing medium, and the 7 Cumulus radio station share in DFW reaches over 3 million people per week. 3 million. Those new media wannabes don't have that kind of reach. Find out more about the Edison Research and the truth about audio consumption at DallasRadioWins.com. That's DallasRadioWins.com.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Perma-Pure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Perma-Pure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Perma-Pure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
The Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency Network. Richard can quote over 20 A-rated companies to find the best fit for you, the best policy at the best price. Call Richard today at 817-286-2002. It's the Richard Tonihka Goosehead Insurance Agency, 817-286-2002. Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate, and if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor.
570 AM, 96.3 HD2. That's where you'll find us. News and information, KLIF.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We're here for all of your business and real estate needs, so catch up with me offline. If you're interested to know what your home is worth, we'll be happy to go through that information with you. Happy to get you this is the time to get your home listed and sold. And, don't forget, when you're driving around, DFW and you see these handwritten signs, I'll pay you cash for your house. We buy ugly houses. We do this, we do that. Look, if you want to sell your house, by all means, for 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 less than retail value, hey, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. I mean, if that's the case. But, if you want to get retail value for your house, then don't get bamboozled by these guys and gals out there that are paying, hey, we're going to offer you cash right here today. Look, it's going to take you 30 days to move out anyway. I mean, what are you going to just move out in 2 days? No, you're not. You don't even know where you're going. You need the process. Plus, who wouldn't want the extra money in their pocket? I mean, what are you people out of your mind these days? And here's the problem. They're preying on the baby boomers, that haven't updated their home. And it's very frustrating, because they're just preying on these baby boomers, and the elderly to, offer them cash and they're hard selling them. And, don't go that route, folks. Give me a call. We'll get you top dollar retail value for your house. If you need to make some updates, we have contractors that'll take payment at closing, no out-of-pocket expense. We'll get your home updated. We'll get top value. Why would you just throw away tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars? I mean, shoot, if you want to just sell your house 50 cents on the dollar, freaking A, I'll come and buy it. You want to sell it 50 cents on the dollar, I mean, come on. So anyway, let's get back into a little more insurance talk. We got a few more minutes to finish out the show. Let's finish up on that topic that we were discussing with liability, et cetera.
So with liability, someone's fallen and broken their arm. There is the possibility that you could be held responsible for pain and suffering, which is always going to be more expensive, or that's where a majority of any kind of judgments that are levied against people, that's where a majority of those that cost comes in. They may give $20,000 for the accident and then $15 million for the pain and suffering. So I mean, it's not going to happen on a house, but you never know what's going to happen in. It happens to companies all the time, but it's probably not going to happen in a house. So if you're found legally responsible, liability coverage may help you cover you against that settlement. they are going to pay for the legal fees also. So your insurance company wants you to make sure that you are being represented the way you should. So they're going to send their legal team out to make sure that you're being looked after the way you need to be. And so when you're looking at this, you're also looking at your loss of wages, but there are going to be certain limitations on what your home liability covers. So if you're on social media a lot and you're saying names and doing all the stuff that you probably shouldn't be doing to begin with,
not helpful,
but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Slander, libel, all that stuff is not covered by your homeowner's insurance.
Yeah.
But if you go to, let's say you're at a hotel, you're on vacation, your homeowner's insurance is going to follow you wherever you go. Not everywhere in the world, but it usually follows you everywhere you go. So, and it's going to follow you. Let's say you're at a hotel lobby or your hotel room, and for some reason you go crazy and start trashing the place. Your homeowner's insurance may end up covering you for any loss or damages to the hotel that you are responsible for, just because it does follow you. It doesn't just stay at the home. Your home liability follows you wherever you go.
Now, it doesn't mean you can go out and be a rock star and trash the hotel room on vacation this week.
No.
But in an emergency.
But one of the things that I always tell people is these are accidents. These are not willfully thought out or malicious things that you are going in and doing. It is an accident. If you think it through and this is something that's staged or planned or something like that, it is not going to be covered. It is only going to cover you if it's an accident. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. But while we still got a few seconds, I've got a question for you. Let's say you've got a homeowner that's looking at buying a $40,000 or a $50,000 house. What is your advice to them? Because I've got someone that is looking at possibly doing that.
Well, I would say generally, though, they don't exist. However, I do have a client that came back and is looking at a similar thing. Those properties do exist, either a lot of work if it's in the Metroplex. Yes. If you want a house that's $50,000 and that is a decent house, you're going to have to go outside the Metroplex. I've found some recently up in Sherman. There's quite a few out in Abilene. Some of the outlying areas, they do exist. But we are out of time, folks. We will see you next week, 8 to 9, as always. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Inside Real Estate Radio with Mike Kruizinga. We are out of here. See you next week.
The preceding program was furnished by K1 International, LLC, and is responsible for its content.